Hello there everyone, it's Aidan here, and today I have two things to tell you. For one, I'm trying this standing up thing, so we'll see how that goes. And secondly, I spent the weekend thinking about the industry as a whole, the games industry, the direction that it's heading in, or more specifically, the direction that Sony is heading in. If you look at the games industry over the last 10 years or so, you'll notice that there is a huge emphasis on the live service model. This is your Destinies, your Divisions, your Apex Legends, games that want you to play them forever and want you to keep paying for them forever. Now, for the most part, Sony haven't actually been too focused in on all this, happily releasing the likes of The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima and the like. But that could all be about to change because, for one, we know that Sony has acquired Bungie for $3.6 billion, showing a clear, keen interest in multiplayer games. And secondly, it outright stated that it aimed to release 10 live service games by 2026. And if my maths is correct, that's just 4 years away. A lot of games in a small amount of time. Now, all of this could have some huge implications for Sony, not just with the games that we get from them, but also the perspective that players have on the brand. Now, just to start things off, for the most part, I actually really like the live service model. I think it's an excellent evolution of what came before, because if you cast your mind back to 5 or so years ago, we were paying for season passes instead of battle passes, and the difference really is night and day. For one, season passes were more pay to play. If you couldn't afford the latest expansion, you weren't playing with everyone that could. I'm sure many of you were happily playing Black Ops 2 back in the day to then suddenly be told, £15 for the new maps please. But you couldn't afford it, or you didn't want to pay for it, so you didn't, and then you couldn't play with your friends. And that's where the live service model comes in, because it's a really inclusive approach to gaming as a whole. However much money you spend in any one game is entirely up to you. For example, Apex Legends, I played like 450 hours of that game, and I haven't spent more than £20 on it. You might have spent £2,000 on it, and someone else might have spent nothing at all. Doesn't matter, we can all play together because the core experience is exactly the same. That is what is so great about the live service experience. However, of course, everything that has a pro has a con. And the con of the live service model is quite a grand sweeping one, because it's the overall change of attitude from developers. Because developers are all of a sudden becoming really obsessed with the idea of finding that next big live service game. It's why we've had games like Lawbreakers or Hyperscape, titles that are trying to entice us in, games that want you to play them forever but just not working out. There's a lot of copy and pasting going along since the live service model came about. And the thing is, at the end of the day, we can't play all of these games. If you want to get the most out of Destiny, you really have to be committed to Destiny. And that means maybe you can't play this game or that game. It's really impossible for us to play all of them at the same time. So every time a new one comes out, you're just getting a bit tired with it all. However, it shouldn't be much of a surprise that Sony is going down this route, because it's proven to be profitable. Multiplayer is a huge element to the success and the popularity of video games as it is. If you look at Sony's biggest competitor in Microsoft, you'll notice that Microsoft has a big emphasis on multiplayer games through Game Pass. Of course, Halo Infinite released at the end of last year, proving to be quite a big hit for the company. And then you have Game Pass, which is actually including expansion packs for multiplayer titles and entire games as is, to bypass the paywall to get players in and spending. So with all of that said, does Sony really need to focus on live service titles? It's hard to imagine at this point Sony being anything other than the rich single player narrative publisher. However, just as Xbox has completely shifted its perspective over the last generation, Sony can too, and admittedly it is lacking in the multiplayer department. There are so many franchises and IP within Sony that could make for fantastic multiplayer offerings. Just the other week I was talking about The Last of Us Factions, which could be a fantastic multiplayer live service title. However, the biggest challenge that Sony will face is the balancing act. Players still want The Last of Us, they still want God of War, But they might also want multiplayer games. As long as Sony is able to continue releasing high quality single player experiences along with the live service titles, there really should be no issue. But at the end of the day, Sony has to keep sight of what makes it Sony. I'm always going to remember The Last of Us over Rainbow Six Extraction, and I don't really want that to change too much. However, as always, I'm keen to know what you guys think of all this. Do you think it's a mistake for Sony to change its perspective to push for multiplayer games? Or do you think it's really playing catch up and should have started years ago? Let us know down in the comments below, and leave a like for the video and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more PlayStation based content just like this. And as always, I'll see you next time right here on Push Square.